listen to your rising sign first, as this will give you the most accurate placement in the forecast. Now, with Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, and which will be till 2023 in Capricorn, this is your 7th house. And so this has been a long transit. So you've been going through a lot of transformation in the relationship area of your life. And any types of partnerships, whether it's business partnerships, love partnerships, close one-on-one relationships, can go through profound changes with this transit. And you get into close encounters with people such as doctors or psychiatrists or lawyers or consultations even, and people that you even consider an opposition of some kind can transpire with Pluto here. Now, if you're in a committed relationship, if the relationship is not sound, it probably won't last through this transit. So your relationship might go through a breakdown period, and then a build up period. But if it does not build up, then it'll most likely disintegrate and not make it through the transit. Sometimes, and this of course can also apply to business partnerships and so forth. So this is not exactly ideal placements in regards to marriage, but it can also sometimes denote power and control issues, imbalances in relationship areas. It can also mean that it's difficult for you to get sort of settled in, either into the relationship or maybe in a business environment or some kind of agreement. You're not settled with it. It might even be a place where you are to live. And on a subconscious level, with this transit, you're looking for someone to transform your life on a subconscious level. So you also need to avoid power struggles and doing anything underhanded, or because there can be jealousy in relationships with this placement, secrets, but we need to realize that with a placement like this, we can encounter situations that mirror our inner psychic impulses and people. So you trigger the good or the bad with people involved in this transit. And it's all in order for you to transform this area of your life and own your part in it. And learn in order to not miss out on how you can transform this area for the better as well. And this is a good transit to sort of find yourself in a relationship or dig for patterns and deep-rooted issues in regards to, even abandonment issues and things that needs healing. That's been sort of subconsciously hurting you in a way. And then let's have a look at Neptune in Pisces. This is in your 9th house, and Neptune has been here since 2012 till 2025. So this is also a long transit. And with Neptune in your 9th house, your interest in spiritual truths and higher consciousness is more stimulated. But it can also sometimes confuse your outlook or make you highly fanatical, where you lose touch with reality. Sometimes Neptune can blur the distinction of you and others, and even the world itself. So things can sort of just start blending into each other. It's okay to allow yourself to be ignorant right now. If you're not sure about how you feel about certain things or how your beliefs are changing, eventually the fog will clear and you'll start to understand your relationship to the universe. It's more important to now just go with your gut and go with your intuition, as it will be much stronger at this time. But you'll be much more aware of everything being connected as one and how everything ripple effects. And it's also a time where you'll learn to be more grateful for your lessons. And it's important to also know that that the knowledge that you gain and the wisdom that you gain through this transit can be shared with others, as you would most likely want to, but as long as it's not being pushed onto others. It's also important not to feel superior to others in regards to what you feel you know, and to know that everyone will be ready to accept and be open to new perspectives in their own time. And then Uranus is in Taurus since 2018 and will be there until 2026. And this is in your 11th house. And this brings in opportunities for new lifestyles being possible. And to revolutionize the area of groups and alliances, your hopes and dreams for the future. And you might find that you have new friends, or you might have, you're making friends with unusual people. You might undergo new experiences through friends. There can also be upsetting experiences or surprises in regards to friends or situations. This can be a time where you want to rebel against group pressures and either join groups or affiliations that are like-minded than you, or separate from some. But it's important to remain flexible in this area. Even when groups can become challenging. Money and material situations can fluctuate. So it's important to be prepared and not put all your eggs in one basket. Your values and friends are changing. You can gain or lose suddenly in these areas. The nature of your work may change. You might get extreme inventive downloads at this time, or a sudden blessing or sudden opportunity, or a sudden light bulb moment of a new way for you to earn money, or a new path going forward, or a different attacking your future goals in a different way than you've previously thought could be possible. Or maybe you're faced with an obstacle and now you're thinking out of the box and how to overcome this and still make your goals possible. Initially, some of the changes in this area can be upsetting, but ultimately it is for your highest good. And trust that all is happening for you and not against you. And then we have Saturn in Aquarius in your 8th house. And Saturn has been here since the 17th of December 2020 and will be here until the 7th of March 2023. Now, Saturn here can heighten personal detachment. It can allow impartial objectivity and treatment of troublesome issues. The approach with Saturn here is more rational and unemotional. So this can also stir opposition in the unconventional view, acceptance or rejection by peers. Now, it also brings into focus finances and possessions shared, and great transformations connected to these of events that you are going through. And coming to terms with others' values and learning to live with it or without it, without destroying your own individuality. Others' resources may be cut off with a transit like this, or you might get denied a bank loan, or there could be less income in regards to your spouse, or you're maybe cut off from some extra source of income that you've been used to. This is a transit where you are starting to become more aware that you don't want to be dependent on others, and that you are transforming this area so that you can become more independent. This is also a transit where you might be thinking more about serious issues, death and life after death, and how, all of these things are affecting you at this time. You can also be thinking a lot about how all of these things are affecting your dreams and goals. And in some cases, Saturn in the 8th house can block intimacy to a degree, and make you less vulnerable, makes you want to sort of shell up a bit. But it's important to stay open and human and realize that we're all in this, and there's no shame in vulnerability. That is really where true connection and sharing happens. And Jupiter is in Pisces as we get into the year, in your 9th house, and will be there until the 10th of May, where it will ingress into Aries in your 10th house. And Jupiter will retrograde on the 28th of July and move its way back into Pisces October 28th, where it'll station direct in November and re-enter Aries on the 20th of December 2022. So it's approximately 6 months that Jupiter will be in Pisces. And as we start off with Jupiter here, while Jupiter is transiting this area, your view of the world and perspectives develop and grow. And Jupiter enjoys this house as it naturally rules this house. Opportunities for travel, even by book, by reading or fantasizing, learning, writing, publishing, teaching, even informally, can appear. Dealings with foreign matters or foreign people or people that are different from you, or legalities, or the dissemination of information of some kind, or teaching. Every opportunity now has the ability to be a wisening and maturing experience for you, even though this is always the case in life, but you realize it now and you're hungry for it now. So there's an understanding that's coming sort of in full circle for you here. You could gain interest in subjects such as philosophy, religion, metaphysics, life after death. You could find your intuition is much stronger now, and you may even experience prophetic dreams or epiphanies. But the main purpose or effect of this energy is to let go of old limiting programmed belief systems and prejudices, and expand your mind and see the interconnectedness and the sameness of all of us, and the bigger picture and move away from separatism. And then Jupiter will enter Aries on the 10th of May. And this will be in your 10th house. Now, while Jupiter is here, your attention is more focused on your career, your life direction, reputation, and status. And considerable progress is made or possible here. And you will be more willing to really put in the hard work to move things forward and to bring growth here. Be very careful of being domineering, though, or having an overinflated ego, especially in regards to superiors, as this can cause trouble. For most, this transit can bring some form of recognition for work well done or a promotion of some kind, and you can learn much about yourself now and what you're capable of. Jupiter here can in some cases involve travel for work, or dealing with foreign matters or people, higher learning or teaching, public speaking, the law, dealing with the truth, justice and growth. Also topics that involve children or religion or some kind of ceremony, and also topics involved with parents. In some cases, this can also indicate loss or gain in this area in big ways and big shifts in this area. But usually with Jupiter, this is like a guardian angel, connection to the divine, and being guided divinely in the actions that you're being taken, as long as you stay humble, stay kind, and do everything in love. And then we start the year with Mars in Sagittarius to ingress Capricorn on the 24th of January. Now, Mars will be in Capricorn in your 7th house, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn and can increase worldly ambition to achieve. It is a well-organized energy with regulated action, practical results. It can bring a prudish sex drive at times. But this can also indicate gain through lawsuits and dealing with the public. This can be good for marriage or work, or working on agreements and partnerships, actively working on it, or actively working with a partner or a lover onto a creative project of some kind. In some cases, this can indicate loss by theft or discord with children. This can indicate sexual pleasure, trouble or loss through love or partnerships. Mars here can generate tension unless you use it creatively, because it can bring conflict with a spouse or a close one-on-one relationship, whether it's business or consulting or whatever it is, or with the public, because it's harder for you to compromise during this time. But it is a great time to evaluate your relationships in these areas and the levels of equality and where there needs to be more compromise, and airing out how you really feel about things, and be very aware of controlling your emotions, because you can be very reactive at this time and sort of fly off the handle and unnecessarily. So this is good for working on the relationship, going for counseling. So be aware of needless arguments. Sometimes this can also indicate legal affairs. And in that case, be fair and be willing to compromise for this to work out in your best favor. And then Mars will conjunct Pluto here on the 3rd of March in the 7th house at 27 degrees, near its 28th degree of exaltation. Now, this area of your chart is very active, especially with the Venus retrograde here as well, that we start the year off in. And the Mars, Pluto, and Venus all conjunct on the 3rd of March. And there's so much going on here. Venus is also the ruler of the North Node, moving into for the next 18 months with ruling Taurus, and the South Node in Scorpio. So this area is highly charged at the moment. The Venus retrograde will also be way more potent than a normal one. So I would pay attention to the area of relationships in your chart in a big way. So on the 3rd of March, Mars will conjunct Pluto, and we can be more tempted to take control of whatever's happening around us with this kind of transit. It can stimulate ambition, which can be very positive, but it can also bring in violent and disruptive behavior, either from you or from someone else. So this can go either way. It can bring in a ruthless energy, ego conflicts, power games, also connected to the government, other people at work, or sort of work politics. So it's important to avoid danger or people you don't know or you're unsure about, and really follow your gut at this time. But it is a great energy for making changes or doing heavy amounts of work, or finally making a change in this area of your life, finally severing a relationship that's been toxic, or finally transmuting something that's needed to change for a long time, and it finally sort of triggers you into action. This can also make you gain power in some way in this area. Make sure you're not abusing your power or acting selfishly. This is the 7th house, and there needs to be balance and compromise here for things to work out. Now, this can be a transit, like I said, where you can attract violence or violent people. So channel your energy appropriately. Make sure you work out, and you meditate, and you breathe, and you think things through, and you don't act impulsively on your emotions. Take a step back. Talk to someone, ground yourself. Sometimes this can indicate the death of a parent, the death of a partner. This can bring changes in regards to women as well, and government collectively, in a sense. This can bring in business regarding death, inheritances, a rise in power or a raise financially, or a higher position in some way. And then Mars will enter Aquarius on the 6th of March in the 8th house. And this will also trigger the Saturn-Uranus square we've had all of 2021, of past versus future, old versus new, restriction versus freedom. And we still have this square going on into 2022. And for you, you might have been feeling this now for a while very intensely in your 11th and 8th houses, connecting goals and financial shifts and shared financial issues or loans in regards to goals or future plans. Maybe your spouse's income or agreements with business partners or spouse agreements in regards to future goals. This could have to do with property or legislation, or this could have to do with a significant other and a friendship, a death in the family, and inheritance, or payouts or arguments or stalemates in these areas. Now, with Mars in your 8th house, in Aquarius, there can be a flair for the innovative or innovative flair, doing the original things, doing things in a unique way. Mars wants action that's free, and this can also bring in a more sexually cool and unemotional energy, so you might not feel as you want to be as vulnerable emotionally at this time, or as intimate. Things are more just very physical for you at this time, especially sexually. Sometimes there can be energies here of loss through speculation, gain or honor in handling the money of others, or maybe a scandal if it's in a negative sense. You usually experience some kind of transformative event or a person that powerfully affects you here. And it has a powerful effect on you. It can bring in conflicts in regards to shared values, financials, possessions, property, debt, or intimacy, possibly. It can bring in issues such as divorce, cutting of contracts, ending things, or beginning things here. Now, conflicts and arguments over money foolishly spent, especially when it's shared resources. So be also cautious of spending and investing impulsively into things you don't know much about. Make sure you do your research during this time. This is a great transit for looking deeper into things. It's not good for obtaining loans. It's more accident prone. It can sometimes indicate surgery of some kind. But there's also a more possibility here to be able to bring in deep psychological healing in regards to trauma. But sometimes this can indicate trauma. But then this creates opportunity for healing as well. There is a need for deeply transforming sexual intimacy and expression with a transit like this. There's a death and a rebirth in this area. And for some, this can be physical with people, a spouse, people that you don't even know, but the effect of their death has a profound effect on you, and you start questioning life after death and deeper topics in life that you might not have previously looked into as much. But this can also be habits that's dying, or an old part of you that you are done with, that no longer serves you, a toxic relationship. Maybe you're actively working on paying off debt or changing your ways in regards to intimacy, or how you deal with other people's money, power struggles, etc. And then Mars will conjunct Saturn on the 4th and 5th of April at 22 degrees of Aquarius. And this can be a difficult transit for some. It can bring in frustration and irritation. This is not a time to really do any risky or challenging activities. You may experience less energy at this time. You may feel angry and not be able to express how you feel. So it's important for you to physically work out and release some of this pent-up energy. But it's great for working on something that requires heavy concentration or careful technique. And it's important to be cautious in regards to using tools or weapons or iron and steel or anything that could harm you or malfunction in some way. But this is also great as a trigger to sort of have a domino effect on an area in your life where you've been wanting to create more freedom and independence. Maybe it's financial independence for you, or independence from emotionally being too attached maybe to a partner or to something that needs to be let go of. Because Mars is also squaring Uranus, and this can bring in that rebellious energy of finally having enough and breaking free in this area. But this can also be done in a very disruptive, impulsive manner, which can get you in trouble with the law and authority figures. So you want to be careful about how you channel this energy. It's very easily angered, more aggressive. So it's important to realize the signs. You've been feeling this for a while. You know you need to make changes here. So start by making little loosening up the grip changes and changing things around, doing things in different ways in order to free you in this area that you can't entirely feel free in yet. And so that you don't have to go through some really hard experience or event that catapults you into it. So start making some changes in this area. Minimize, simplify. This is also an energy where you need to be more cautious in regards to accidents. And remember that new challenges require new solutions. This is Aquarius, and you need to start thinking out of the box, unique, original, authentic ways. And then Mars will be in Pisces on the 15th of April in your 9th house. And this happens just after the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces on the 12th of April. Sorry, I just had to take a sip of my tea. Now, with Mars here, you can feel like you've had a little bit of a lack of motivation or confidence. And Mars here functions best under clear direction. And this also goes the other way around, when you're communicating with others, that you are clear and to minimize misconceptions and misunderstandings. And it's best to work in a quiet atmosphere to improve productivity with this kind of transit. It is a more affectionate and romantic transit. You might be spending more time on music or poetry or some kind of art, or you may find that you want to spend money on luxury items. So be careful of that. Also be careful of self-sabotaging behaviors. This can also bring in journeys in regards to your professional life, or long journeys in regards to learning or publishing or research, or maybe you're writing a test, or you're studying really hard, or you're working on philosophy or writing. This can also involve children and travel and higher learning. Wanting to share beliefs that you have gained of the world and view of the world, wanting to share that with others, being very defensive of your beliefs. But your steps are also divinely guided here. So it's important to spend much time in prayer and be open to other points of view, expanding your mind and your worldview and researching things, and not pushing your views down other people's throats, and realizing that everyone will open up at their own time and in their own level. This can sometimes indicate legal difficulties. This is cautionary warning for travel. It's best to get an astrology consultation as well if you are going to be traveling with this kind of transit, just to make sure it's well looked at with your own natal placements. And then Mars will conjunct Neptune on the 17th of May at 24 degrees of Pisces. And this can bring in strange feelings, being irritable, discouraged, feeling like you're not able to do what you want to do. You can have an inferiority complex or feel kind of useless at this time, or lazy, or sort of like you have no drive. You need to also watch for action based on delusions and being taken for a ride and falling for scams. It's important to avoid unhealthy escapism, like drinking too much or taking drugs or alcohol. It's not a great time to start anything new with Mars conjunct Neptune. I would wait for this to pass. But it is great for serving others and volunteering and giving to others and spending time in charity or helping in hospitals. But your intentions must be good. It's also not good to push your body too hard during this time. You can feel more low energy and low sex drive, but you might feel more romantic and more emotional and in tune with music and poetry and connecting with people on a softer realm. And then Mars will ingress Aries on the 24th of May, and that'll be in your 10th house. And Mars in Aries is dignified. It likes direct and immediate action. It can be aggressive, impulsive, but Mars here is a doer and goes after what it wants. It has courage and energy. It's brave and it's competitive. And it can sometimes fail to finish what it started, though. So this is something to pay attention to. Haste can cause accidents or injuries, or just, things ending in ways that they shouldn't. This can also indicate a stronger sex drive. With Mars here, you can gain through your profession. There can also be aid here from a parent, or you can be aiding a parent. This is really good for working on a project that you're very passionate about, and getting a lot of work done. But you may go through feelings here of wanting more independence in your work and wanting to be your own boss. There can be challenges with Mars here. There can be competition at work. So it might be better for you to work alone on a project if it's possible, because you might find it harder to work with others at this time because you're not really in a place where you want to be told what to do. So there's more opportunity to have conflict with authority figures. This is also a time where you may decide, that's it, I'm done, I want to work for myself. But remain conscious of others' efforts in the workplace. Otherwise, all of your hard work and efforts can end up, not paying off for you if you don't avoid conflict. And then Mars will conjunct Jupiter on the 29th of May at 3 degrees of Aries in your 10th house. And this is great energy for physical activity. It boosts your confidence now. So this is a great transit to have after feeling more low energy. And it's just important to also not go into an overconfident drive here, where you can be prone to accidents and humiliation and sort of blowing yourself up a bit too big. It is important to be cautious in speculation, but this can also be a very lucky energy, a very blessed energy. It's great for muscle growth, and it's very strengthening in the situation that you might have a childbirth happening. It helps you to get through that. But it can also sometimes indicate secret sorrows in some cases. And then Mars will be squaring Pluto retrograde in Capricorn on the 1st of July at 27 degrees of Aries. And this can also bring us into power struggles of some kind, but you will want to make headway during this time. This can be a very high energy, also within opposition from others, which can maybe force you to take course of action in a different way than you originally planned. It's important to pay attention to smaller details because loose ends can trip you up at this time, so be more cautious. Resist being cruel and ruthless, and being underhanded. Don't take shortcuts because this can lead to failure and exposure later on in January of 2023 most likely, and this goes both ways. So you want to be careful also of being the victim of this kind of actions. But this can also be an energy where you want to either fight for something or give up on something in regards to you in an opposition or you in a group. So avoid dangerous people, dangerous places, groups, or anywhere that you do not have the support, in case of an emergency of some kind. And then Mars will be in Taurus in your 11th house on the 5th of July. And Mars in Taurus is in detriment, and this can slow initiative or starting things, but it boosts practical direction and determination. So even though things might start off here as a slow start, there's purposeful action here. And work can be more focused towards monetary gain during this time. You may want to start something new or work on a new future goal. And usually Mars in Taurus likes to work with money or with earth materials and gardening or growing things, self-sustaining, securing your own security, working on your basic needs. It also induces a more basic, sensual, sexual approach. Sometimes this can indicate action in regards to friends or friends in high positions or a legislator. It can bring in blessings, ambitious ideals, good resolution in regarding legislation, closeness to children or a person in particular. But this is usually an active time of formulating and pursuing goals, and there's teamwork required here. So you might find it harder to work in a team environment with Mars here, but this transit really promotes creating a balance between your interests and other people's interests. Maybe your kids and your coworkers, free time and responsibilities, this kind of thing. So freedom and limitation. So this can also indicate sometimes hiring a team of employees or hiring or scouting for people to collaborate with or like-minded people for a similar cause, this kind of thing. So there can also be difficulties in regards to friends and co-workers with Mars here. There can be competition, there can be cutting, there can be conflict and fighting. There can be verbal fights as well. There can be new beginnings or endings in regards to alliances and political views. There can sometimes be accidents connected to friends, but this is a great energy for group sports, unique ideas, solutions, light bulb moments, innovations, fighting for your rights and your freedoms and your freedom of speech and using your voice and your authenticity and standing up for what you believe in and aligning your future goals with your beliefs is big here as well. And then Mars will conjunct Uranus in your 11th house, also conjuncting the North Node on the 1st of August at 18 degrees of Taurus. And this can indicate a crisis point with this nodal degree. Now, with Mars conjunct Uranus here, there can be sudden upsets, disruptions, surprises, financial losses or gains, but basically volatility in this area. Your plans might go haywire. There can be energy bursts out. There's a breaking free from limitation in this area. There can be a rebellious action. Accidents during this time are usually self-inflicted, so please control your energy levels by working out, talking to others, getting support when you need it, staying realistic, thinking before you do, because there's consequences to actions. Now, avoid driving too fast or working with machinery or tools or weapons, especially if you're angry. This is great energy to create a new project with, to innovate something, to work out, to have to assert your individuality in a healthy way and inspiring others. And then Mercury will retrograde from air to earth in 2022. So it'll retrograde from Aquarius to Capricorn, from Gemini to Taurus, and from Libra to Virgo. Now, of course, all the general topics would apply here: mental activity, anxiety, changes, abrupt surprises, insecurities and imbalances. We're going inward to change things, redo things, rethink and reevaluate things. We can change our minds. Our transportation and communications can be affected. There can be mistakes, loss of passwords, loss and damage to electronics, miscommunication, email errors, having to retest, redo. It can be reversals, cancellations, people from the past coming back into your life, banking errors, card errors, electricity and internet disruptions, car malfunctionings, pipes bursting, mechanical fault issues, wrong numbers, rerouting traffic, accidents. No buying new electronics, please. Wait until after Mercury has turned direct. Please don't sign any contracts or start new things. Wait. Rather use this time to review, finalize the details, adjust, plan and prep, find out more information, go deeper, work on the schedules and the routines and that kind of thing. So this is a time to rather prepare, repair, and so forth, and going over the fine details. Now, Mercury will retrograde from 10 degrees Aquarius to 24th degree of Capricorn for 21 days from January 14th until the 4th of February. Now, this can include topics such as friends, alliances, groups, political groups, co-workers, people and organizations, governmental associations, showing their true colors during this time. Now, our future hopes, goals, and wishes can be affected by this. We can be going through rethinking these areas. Markets and supply lines can be affected here. Our social life, our freedom and individuality, our rights, the collective, topics including radio frequencies, internet, electronics, AI, governmental changes. There can be imbalances career-wise, property-wise, commitment-wise. there can be more serious responsibilities that's dealt with during this time, or issues in regards to teeth and bones, sadness, hard work, and so forth. Now, for you, Cancer rising, this will be affecting your 7th and 8th houses. So this can affect, communications and all of the topics that I've mentioned now before, including neighbors, friends, relatives, car issues. Your commute can be affected. Your general communication, purchases, health, your mental condition, your sleep patterns. Old lovers can show up. Connections in regards to a surgeon or a tax collector, or wills or other people's money, shared resources, finances, investments, money, agreements, intimacy, sex, past traumatic memories, affairs of the dead, inheritance, debt, your spouse's income, your spouse, committed love and business relationships, opponents, lawsuits, public dealings, open enemies, nieces and nephews, and all contracts and agreements, all one-on-one close relationships especially. So those are the areas that can all be affected mercurially. So you want to be flexible in this area. You don't want to start anything new. And you can expect your mind to change and things to change that happens during this retrograde. And then we will have Mercury retrograding from the 4th degree of Gemini into the 26th degree of Taurus on May 10th until the 3rd of June. And this will be for 24 days. So all the general Mercury retrograde topics again would apply here. And then also a connection to people being more brutally honest during this time. You might deal more with gossiping and pokey noses and flights being delayed or schedules being disrupted or plans being changed. So it's best to plan ahead, make lists, rethink things, double check things, proofread, use direct communication where possible. And we can also experience more chaotic events collectively in regards to finances, banking, markets, agriculture, our values, our skills, the way we make money. So it's important to think before we spend. Don't make any new investments at this time. Stay flexible so that you can go with the changes and flow with surprises or sudden turnarounds and events that can occur. Now, for you, this can be affecting you in your 12th house, your 3rd house, and also your 11th house quite strongly. Of course, it can also affect other areas depending on your individual chart, but these would be your main areas being affected. So there can be issues in regards to maybe your hopes and dreams being affected, and maybe plans and future goals that's being changed, or there can be issues in regards to general communication, your neighborhood, where you live, your relatives, your mind, changing your mind on things and decisions that's being made. Also in regards to letting go of things, letting go of something toxic, or just letting go of bad behavior patterns, or changing your mind on a decision that you made in regards to maybe past issues coming up. So you can look again at your 12th, 3rd, and 11th houses and see also how this can be affected. It can also be in regards to faraway places, and psychology, and working with healing and working with a counselor and so forth. And then Mercury will retrograde in Libra at 8 degrees to the 24th degree of Virgo on September 10th till the 2nd of October for 22 days. And this basically brings all these things that Libra and Virgo take care of. And with Libra, it's grace and charm and diplomacy and collaborations and contracts and agreements and relationships, one-on-one, business or love-oriented. So these things can all be off balance, the law, fairness, and you might be rethinking these topics, relationships, your style, your looks, your finances, your values, whether you feel manipulated in some areas, where does there need to be more compromise? And then there can also be more issues in regards to public health coming up at this time collectively in regards to COVID issues, employment, work, mental health, all of these things, and healing methods and so forth. And for you, this can again come across your 12th and 3rd house, like I've said before. And then also added here now is your 4th house and all the normal Mercury retrograde topics mentioned. So again, this can be something that maybe you want to quit smoking, and you want to start doing that right now. It might not be a great time to start doing that during a Mercury retrograde, and to rather start planning out how you're going to fade it out and how you're going to quit. And maybe slowly change to a lighter cigarette and smoking less every day and changing the routine of it so that maybe you're only smoking one in the morning and one after each meal. And now you've cut back to that amount and you stick to that for a week, and then you go down even more, and you sort of plan these things out so that by the time Mercury goes direct, you can basically then say, now I'm going to quit, and then give it your all. Because if you quit now, you might come back to it afterwards. This just as an example. But basically, this can be any self-sabotaging habit. This can be a subconscious behavior pattern from the past that's coming up in your communication or in regards to friends being enemies. This can also be connected to, again, just your general neighborhood, relatives, communications, purchases, writing, your mind, again, choices, and then your home, your family, where you live, your roots, your foundation can be affected by this as well. So this can also affect things like appliances malfunctioning in your home, or for example, pipes bursting, or there's suddenly no water, or things like that happening. And then Venus will go retrograde from the 19th of December until the 29th of January 2023. So we start the year with this, and Venus will be conjunct Pluto. So this is a very intense retrograde, like I've mentioned before. And now, when Venus retrogrades, we are rethinking issues of love, money, investments, our values, what makes us happy, what do we really want our lives to look like, what is going to last. We're rethinking beauty, pleasure, sweet things. All of these are coming in for review. Our relationships with others, our love and business relationships. Are we being fed the way we need to be fed? Is it balanced? Is it, is there enough compromise? Now, old relationships can return during Venus retrogrades, or issues in regards to them. Sometimes unexpected expenses can happen, laziness in this area, or an intense search for comfort or style. We might also see a lot of more news about expensive art and things like that. I'm not going to go into all the detail of the Venus and Capricorn energy, but this is a more with Pluto here as well. There can be power struggles, obsessive behavior, possessiveness, jealousy, sort of revenge. But this is a very mature, sophisticated Venus in Capricorn. She knows what she wants. She's in it for the money, or it's love for money or money for love. Like she wants to know how this is going to turn out. She's planning ahead, and she is serious about this. This can be old money, love separated, mature love, business contracts regarding love at work. This can be a reality check in love and money. This can be taking a relationship to the next level, or ending it. This is mourning of love that's gone. So there is so many things that can be affected here, but really you don't want to start a brand new relationship, say, and get married or get engaged during a Venus retrograde. You don't want to make big expensive purchases, because you could regret your purchase. You'll be questioning your self-worth with this transit, and what your currency is as a human being. If I had to take away your money, what are you worth? What is your value? What can you contribute? That type of thing. How do you and your partner contribute to each other? It's also good to avoid beauty procedures during this time. So it's better to postpone, plan, reevaluate, check the balance in this area, deal with repressed feelings, and so forth. And yes, so let's have a look. Now this is happening in your 7th house. And so you can maybe experience laziness in the relationship during this time, or difficulty in love relationships. This may be where you find your imbalances now. It can be difficult finding someone if you're single, or you can feel a bit out of balance in a lack of harmony, or uncomfortable in one-on-one situations during this time. It can sometimes indicate issues with the law. It's important to not get married during this transit, or sign any contracts that you can't change your mind on. If you do start a new relationship during this time, you also got to be aware of mercenary tactics and possibilities, and you want to just wait before you make serious decisions about these until Venus has gone direct and out of shadow. And then Mars will retrograde from the 30th of October till the 12th of January 2023 for 63 days, from the 25th degree of Gemini till the 8th degree of Gemini. And Mars will also be in mutual reception with Mercury and Scorpio at this time. So these two houses of Scorpio and Gemini will be having some connection in your chart. And Mars is our willpower. It is our action planet. It's our drive. It's our passion. And when it is not direct, we can have more difficulty asserting ourselves. We can have our energy levels affected. And we can sometimes, especially in Gemini, we can experience verbal conflicts, mental conflicts, or activity, or a lot of movement in our environments, in our minds, a lot of talking, gossiping, angry words, a lot of information overload, media, violence in the media, violence in the cities, We can have technical issues, internet issues, communication issues, very much similar type of stuff to a Mercury retrograde as well, with it being in Gemini. And then also more accident prone, more machinery related, mechanical stuff as well. Shoplifting and theft can also be issues during this time collectively. But during this retrograde, it is better to be finishing projects that you've already started, and being mindful of your energy and channeling it appropriately, and to guard against anger and fighting and so forth. It's a good time to repair things, redo things, renovate, repurpose things, wait with new ventures. There's a higher, younger, more energetic sexual and physical drive here, so you have more energy to get things done, even though it might fluctuate. This is great for getting admin out of the way while you're preparing for something. We might see more accidents during this time, arguments, transportation issues. There can be car explosions or issues in regards to fire and vehicles. So we might also have more blockages and not get as much done as we normally would like to. But Mars can be helpful in helping us to slow down and reflect on our desires, to rethink and analyze what upsets us and why, and where it is coming from. This is great for taking notes on ideas, to rethink what you drive or how you drive, to fix things that need to be fixed. There can be issues in regards to your neighborhood or where you live that you're rethinking. Your relatives can be involved here, your siblings. You can be more emotional in regards to them. You could fight with neighbors, so watch your sharp tongue. Like I said, you can be more impulsive and more injury prone, especially in regards to the hands, the arms, the joints, the lungs. There can be issues in regards to asthma, inflammation, anxiety, and also pulling muscles and joints. In some cases, you could be restudying or redoing tests or reteaching things. There can be changes in relationships and communications with this energy. Your mind can be more fragile and sharp. But you can also get into trouble for what you say, even when you're making jokes with this energy. We can see a rise in fraudulent schemes and business transactions during this time as well. And more fighting with the tongue, fighting with our words, whether it's verbally or in writing. And freedom of speech and movement can come up here. Erotic fantasies, dirty talk. We can be more curious, more active in our neighborhood, or there can be more action in the neighborhood. And we're more inclined to fight for our opinions and beliefs with this transit. Now, this would be occurring in your 12th house. Therefore, problems from the past can surface. Subconscious patterns from the past can surface for you to fix. You can also suffer from insomnia with this transit. You can have hectic dreams, aggressive dreams. You can have self-sabotaging behavior pop up, and unhealthy escapism or criminal activity you can be a victim of or be inclined towards that. So these are all topics that can show up at this time. There can be a laziness. There can be schemes during this time. And this can also sometimes indicate illness. So it's very important to take care of your health during this time, to talk to others if you feel like you need help, If you feel like you're being psychically attacked in some way, or you have a secret enemy of some kind, or you're being spiritually, being wounded on a very emotional level, talk to someone, seek help. We all need help at this time. But this doesn't mean that this is going to be a negative aspect for you at all. I just tend to go to the extreme with these so people can be as best prepared for whatever could show up. We tend to say less positive things because you don't really need to be prepared for that as much as you want to be prepared for things that could possibly not be as positive. And then while Mars is here, it will always also be in mutual reception with Mercury in your 5th house. And so this can also involve some working in regards to children, fun, expressing yourself, creative projects, self-employment, freedom, joy, and sport, and things such as this. And then Jupiter will retrograde on the 28th of July till the 23rd of November for 118 days, from 8 degrees of Aries to 28 degrees of Pisces. And this can sometimes indicate new leaders in the area of Aries. And we can bring up things for review that we want to start or take further and expand. We can be overconfident with this energy, or over-optimistic and arrogant and even selfish. So be careful of that. Stay humble. Remember where you come from. It's good to be confident, but not to be bombastic. Now, you can be more accident prone during this time. You can promise things and not deliver. There's possibilities for big gains, but also big mistakes with this energy. Liver issues can sometimes come up with a transit like this. If there's issues, it can be triggered this way. So watch your alcohol intake and unhealthy escapism methods. And what spiritual lessons are you learning during this time? Where can you be less about yourself and more about others is really what you want to ask yourself with Jupiter here. There's opportunities now for you to create your own luck. You want to watch impulsiveness and anger flare-ups with Jupiter here, mechanical issues in regards to fire. And what is happening that you need to learn from, or who are you learning from, or maybe you're this for someone else, and what is your truth? And this is very important to ask these questions because this is about your personal growth. So go within. And we will also be reviewing through Pisces our visions and ideals and beliefs. And we're more compassionate during this transit, emphasizing more effort onto the meaning of life and our innermost authentic selves, our deeper values, our morals, our integrity, our beliefs. And we're turning spiritually inward. And we might also be seeing much more topics in the news in regards to music and movies and glamour and celebrity and so forth. And this will be affecting you in your 9th and 10th houses. So in your 10th house, you may be rethinking your direction of life, changing what you want to do. What is your true calling? Maybe you want to retrain for something. Maybe you're not interested in only the money anymore. You want meaning here. You want to also watch your arrogance in this area in regards to employers, parents, people in authority. You also don't want to obsess about the details right now. with this occurring in your ninth house, you want to look at the bigger picture. Take a step back. Take a step inward. Have faith in God, and spend time learning and pay attention to your inner lessons during this time. But sometimes there can also be travel in regards to work. There can be more foreign connections, issues, decisions in regards to the law. There can be recognition for hard work or things achieved, and so forth. And then Saturn will retrograde from the 4th of June until the 23rd of October, from 25 degrees of Aquarius until the 18th degree of Aquarius. And this is for 141 days. Now, when Saturn is here, we tend to review committed and serious relationships, our reality, our life goals, our foundations, our structures, our direction, our responsibilities, our duties. And we tend to want to rebalance these areas, and we look at how we manifest our reality. So Saturn reminds us of the aspects of life we cannot avoid: rules, responsibilities, length of life, taxes, the color of our skin, restrictions, commitments, time itself, our bodies and limitations or freedom in them. It's areas that it affect requires restructuring. It can experience delays and frustrations, and sometimes blockages or endings or separations in some cases. So this is in your 8th house, and this can bring in topics connected to time restructuring, questioning control issues. Are you giving or grabbing power? There might be a tightening of power in this area of shared resources, or of other people's money, or where you're getting financial assistance from, or collaborations with others, business agreements, shared finances with a spouse. It can be giving it or needing it. You could be questioning your alignment with someone, and your intimate connection with someone. You could be rethinking a relationship. This can sometimes bring in issues in regards to separations and divorce. You don't really want to do anything while there's a retrograde. You want to wait till it's finished. Otherwise, things can possibly change in between that time. This can bring up issues of control in a group, cutting someone out, or separating from a group, or joining in a group. But it will definitely most likely be affecting issues in regards to finances, investments, other people's money, inheritances possibly, or shared money of sorts. And also your intimacy and vulnerability, and how you open up to others, and how you share yourself with others or not. And then the nodal axis will be moving from mutable signs into fixed signs, and to fixed polarity on the 19th of January 2022, with the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. And the nodal axis is what guides our moon's ecliptic path and determines the eclipse placements. Therefore, our eclipses will be in Taurus and Scorpio for the next 18 months, with also Venus ruling the North Node of Destiny. Therefore, this Venus retrograde in Capricorn is so important. So it's very important to watch what's happening there in your chart, which is your 7th house. And this is all about yourself and others. And this is a year of extremes. It can be a stubborn energy. It can be determined. It's an all or nothing brave energy. This is the financial axis collectively as well. You may ask questions as in what skills do you have? What can you do with your hands? This will bring up topics of natural cosmetics, body care, mine versus yours, obsession, power, manipulation, land, financial equality, secrets, sex, abuse of power, scandals, new currencies, financial systems, sharing, electronic finances, detoxing, what do we really need, getting rid of clutter, releasing unnecessary structures, where can we simplify, let go, recycle, reuse, and we're this is also going to be affecting the Saturn Uranus square as well, with boundaries and freedom. So there's a lot of intensity taking place in 2022. Now, also with this, while I'm on this topic, the Uranus will also conjunct the North Node in your 11th house at 18 degrees. And during this time, there can also be a time for you that you will be more social during this time, or you will make connections with unusual people, or in an unusual environment, or you'll get innovative ideas or downloads or sudden solutions, sudden ideas in regards to your future goals, connected even to technology or the internet. You might connect with people and collaborate more. Business aspects can sort of happen out of the blue, unexpected events regarding your future, regarding co-workers, friends, alliances, future goals. Sudden changes can happen here. And with the South Node in the 5th house, this can transform relationships, also with your children, how you have fun, rebalancing your needs versus others' needs, responsibilities versus freedom. So this eclipse season, on the 30th of April, you will have a solar eclipse in Taurus in your 11th house. So this can be a new seed of intention, a new beginning, a new leaf being turned, a new idea, a new set of intentions in the area of group alliances and friends. So maybe you make a new friend, maybe you have support from friends, or you join a new political party or a cause of some kind. You could be, there could be changes in alliances and groups. Maybe you're starting an AA program. Maybe you have a new dream or goal. Or maybe there's new legislation, or you have a new license that you want to apply for. Or you're starting a new gym membership, or there's a new son or daughter-in-law, or something new in regards or connected to them, or there's blessings coming in, sudden revelations, sudden innovative ideas that come in that can change and catapult you into a new direction. Because remember, eclipses have 6-month cycles or effects, and longer, depending on what cycles and things that they're connected to. So this can take 6 months. This can be something that happens out of the blue, fated events that turn around, you know, you might have a completely new idea on a goal moving forward than you ever had before, a different direction. And some of these things can be disruptive and uncomfortable. But we have to remember that they're happening for our own good. This is to forward you in life, even if it is uncomfortable. And then there will be a lunar eclipse in Scorpio in your 5th house on the 16th of May. And with the lunar eclipse, there can be endings in regards to maybe certain activities with children. Maybe they are finishing up a project. Maybe you are finishing up a creative project. Maybe you have put together some kind of course that you want to teach, or some form of self-employment, or something that you've built up from scratch that's sort of like your baby, that you're now finishing up and ready to get out there. There can be something that you're changing in regards to how you have fun. Maybe your hobbies are changing. Maybe you're finished with rugby and you're now going to take up golf. There can be changes in regards to speculation, common property with others. There can be endings in love, romantic connections, love affairs. There can also be secrets exposed in regards to this, and there can also be a change in how you spend your money on entertainment and what types of entertainment you'd rather connect to at this time. Maybe you're ending a bad habit such as gambling and debt and so forth. And then on the 25th of October, you will have a solar eclipse in this same 5th house of Scorpio. So you can have a new beginning here, a new healthier habit in regards to how you have fun, how you spend time with your children. Maybe there's a new priority being set in order to spend more time with your kids and rebalance your responsibilities with time with your kids. Maybe there is a new child being born or coming into the family. Maybe there's something new happening in regards to your children. Maybe there is a new idea in regards to a creative project or self-employment, or there's maybe new property, common property, or a new love relationship, a new leaf turned romantically in a relationship, a new romantic connection. And then there will be a lunar eclipse, again in your house of Taurus, the 11th house, on the 8th of November. So this will again be some kind of ending or culmination in the 11th house. And so this can be you separating from a group, or a membership of some kind, or a friend. There can be a death in this area in regards to friends or a family member. There can be maybe a license that's expired. There can also be changes in maybe you're realizing that your goals have been unrealistic in some area and you need to change that. There can also, again, be some kind of culmination or something coming to fruition in regards to your son and daughter-in-law, or your goals. Something is finally ready for you to take forward for your future. Your plans have come together, and things are getting to that final stage where you're ready to make the next move. Well, Cancer rising, thank you for allowing me to guide you through 2022's astrology potentials. You can also check out my podcast on the general astrology potentials for 2022 collectively. I will put the link in the description as well. And this is quite the year for you, Cancer, with huge relationship transformations, your sense of self going through shifts, rebalancing, and in regards to business and love and compromise, and really finding yourself in this axis of you and me. I wish you all the best. You have what it takes. And this is going to be a wonderful year, and there might be some continued frustrations for all of us, but of course there can't be good without bad. There's always light and dark, but remember that things are happening for you and not against you. This is for your highest soul growth, and may God bless you and keep you, and may the sun shine bright on you this day and this year going forward. Until next time.